Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, customized designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-winning author Mia Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. Missing by Mia Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing and has also garnered great reviews and even endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes missing by Mia Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. Heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and support the Mike Wagner Show. Go to MikeWagnerShow.com, click donate. You can also go to PayPal, also Anchor FM/support. And you can also check out the cool merchandise on Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show for some cool t-shirts and more, and for some great books and great gift ideas and more, including pop sockets, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. Go to Amazon.com/Mia Mohsen Zia and order today. We're here with a terrific lady who is basically an actress. She's an Army war veteran, a registered nurse, and she also has a garden, and she is also an author of a book who is a very resilient warrior, and she's also put up a really good fight, and we're here to talk about that. And live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Oregon, just up around the canyon along the way, ladies and gentlemen, the very, very multi-talented and resilient Mindy Dougherty. Mindy, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Mindy, as well, too. So basically, you've been a U.S. Army war veteran. You also registered nurse, and you also are the founder of Mindy's Garden, and you're also promoting healing, growth, and also health as well. And you're currently in Oregon, and you also have been in a few movies called Bridge of the Doomed, The Woods, Encounters the Shadow Side, and you also have a book called Mindy's Fight, but yet you have a new book called A Resilient Warrior. And before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started, Mindy.
So I was a combat medic in 1995 to 1999, was sent to Bosnia, Croatia, and Hungary during that time in 1996, and then was stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado in Medak, and then became what's called the boss president, where I was appointed, elected, and reelected by my peers and represented 5,137 soldiers as a need to help single soldiers have an outlet to better the post, as well as getting people together and helping those that were in need when they had issues with their individual commanders. And I would go to the general I was under the 4-star general at the time. And then fast forward a little bit, I went to nursing school and graduated with my bachelor's degree in Denver, Colorado at the University of Colorado Anschutz in Denver, Colorado. And I thought I wanted to do the cancer ward and hospice, but every time I heard the ambulances, I really brought me back into wanting to do a trauma nursing. So I ended up being a trauma nurse and doing interventional radiology until 2014. Mm-hmm. And some certain events happened and that altered my life. And I write about that in both Mindy's Fight and A Resilient Warrior. And I thought I was dying about 4 years ago before I had my second stem cell transplant and my third one about a year ago. So I wanted to create a legacy that I could leave behind. So I created Feed My City. And what that means is helping people grow from the inside out by one seed, one plant, and one garden at a time. hoping that schools and other organizations would peak on. But originally, when I was dying, I'd put 15 trees in my backyard, and 10 have survived. Fruit trees. I have apple trees,
Ooh.
a variety of pear trees, a variety of cherry trees, and a peach tree. And what I was hoping is that building upon that, my fruit would help the person that was going to take over the land and then help my community. And then I lived. So ended up having people from Australia, the UK, and London, Iceland, Scotland reach out to me, and they said that they were very interested in my program
Wow.
and how could they become a part of it. And so now it's international, and as well as a resilient warrior has been bought in Japan and in the countries that I just forementioned. And I'm just really proud of the accomplishments that I've had because of the events that happened. Not saying that I would like those events to happen again, but it changed and altered my life in such a manner that I never knew what could be brought into now. And the movies that I did, Bridge of the Doom, especially with Robert Lasardo and Michael Pare, I've learned so much from them because they've been in this industry for over 30 years. And I've only been an actress for about 2.5, 3.5 years with, I guess, COVID kind of the year got chopped a little bit. But
Hmm.
um, Bridge of the Dooms will be out just in time for Halloween.
Ooh.
And a couple others I just got accepted on to this other movie called TV series called The World Wonders, which is about a World War II Pacific, and asked as well to join social media marketing for Dragon Slayer Entertainment, which we have a few projects that are listed and that are going to be coming up on board. So, but I'm most proud again of Feed My City and A Resilient Warrior because it teaches people how I've gotten through and overcome abuse to allow myself to become conditioned to the point to where I go to schools and advocate for children and let them know that beauty is more on the inside than it is on the outside. Because as we get older, we're always going to change. And if they can grow their self-esteem from the inside out, then they don't really have to say count on other people. And for Feed My City, as far as that goes with other kids and hopefully getting into different jail systems to teach inmates how to grow again from the inside out so that when they come out of society, they can learn how to grow plants and trees for both themselves and their communities and learn how to become a part of a member of society without being so angry about things or being pent up. Maybe they can release anxiety and depression through that, as well as
Mm.
children learning how not to, per se, um, get caught up on materialism. So by learning how to grow, they can grow for themselves and for others with plants, and they can learn detachment that by growing another plant for somebody else that doesn't include themselves, it shows them how to share.
That's interesting. And what was that one precise moment that inspired you to start Feed My City?
Feed My City was ultimately because I thought I was dying 4 years ago. And before I got my transplants, I had this condition called chronic regional pain syndrome, where I had to have my left leg completely above my eyes, or my foot would literally swell up to like the size of an elephant's leg.
Ooh.
And it was very, very painful. And I was getting burning from my foot to my brain to the point where my spinal cord was spasm and I wasn't really able to walk. I'd fall on my face a lot. And so I've basically done a ton of therapy to get to this point to where I no longer fall on my face. I have 50% of the burning, and I still believe in a sense of humanity and getting past my literal past of what happened in the events of 2014 at the San Antonio, Texas VA, where I was tortured for 4 months. So
Ooh.
definitely moving through those issues as well.
Wow. San Antonio VA for 4 months, and you say you got tortured. So what happened over there?
I was neglected. I was starved for a period of 4 months. I had diabetes. My starting weight was 137. I ended up being 107 when my friends rescued me. I had bruises from my ears down. I had vaginal scrapings for 3 days upon my second surgery. So there's either one or four doctors involved in that. My medical records had gotten changed. They wouldn't allow me to even speak about things, to get my medical records to another doctor until the time of stature passed. And so what I really want to do is get my book, A Resilient Warrior, to the White House so that I've won 3 different congressionals throughout my military and civilian career. What I really want to do is change the way that we see the Geneva Convention, which means that we hold this card in case you go to war, and basically it says you're not supposed to get tortured. And now that I've been tortured on American lands, I want things changed. I want to be able to enlighten people on the situations that happen at the VA and the neglect that is currently happening, and so many people that are dying, and also
Mhm.
being assaulted and neglected, as well as this took me, I was bedbound for 3.5 years. So it's taken me a very, very long time to relearn how to speak, how to read, how to eat, how to swallow, and how to urinate, because they blocked my foot they blocked my bladder instead of my foot when I had a bilateral ankle
Oh my gosh.
fracture. So I wasn't even blocked properly. I was basically told that I was just medication seeking, and I had all of my records and my lists of medications on the actual table so that they could see what I was on. And they basically told me I was lying and withholding information, and changed my records to make it look as if I was going crazy, when really, in all actuality, they were giving me things and taking my blood sugars and spiking them all the way up to like 1,000, 1,500, and then dropping me to like 15 in the 20s, which can cause seizures and adverse reactions to the brain. So I've had to really, really do a lot of occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy, and water therapy, which the water therapy was my first actual therapy to get me walking. And I ended up becoming a Watsu practitioner, which is helping others, again, doing shiatsu massage in warm water to allow their bodies to go through what they need to. So I believe that no matter what has happened to me, I still innately believe in humanity, or some piece of it. It took me a long time to actually get back into humanity, as I took myself into isolation for 3 years. And little did I know what the consequences of being in isolation and what that would be, entail after I came out. But it was really hard to come back into society. And it's only been maybe a year and a half to 2 years to where I've really kind of opened up about the full details about
Mhm.
what had happened. Because it's not an easy story to subscribe to. It's not, my lifehood has not been easy. I write in A Resilient Warrior. I've already overcome sexual abuse, incest abuse when I was younger, and I was gang raped at 10. So I really genuinely believe that I've been put on this earth for way better reasons than I can ever succumb to. Otherwise, I think that I'd be dead right now.
Mhm. So just to clarify too, how'd you end up again in the hospital? End up staying for about 3 years. How'd you end up again? Just wanted to clarify.
So initially I had a bilateral ankle fracture. I
That
was
was it.
trimming
Okay.
my trees in San Antonio. I was with somebody at the time, and I had one more tree to cut, and I was like, let me just hurry up and do this. And when I was coming down a ladder, I missed one step and I ended up kind of like
Ooh,
rolling my ankle, basically. So both ankles, people don't realize this, but we have 2 ankles on each foot. So both ankles on my left foot were completely shattered and broken. So I had to have
wow.
pins put in there. And when they put the pins in there, he had put an extra large pin in there. And so it was opening and closing every day and not closing. The wound was never closing. So I had to deal with that for a straight year, until finally, when I was rescued, I had asked a couple doctors to help me. The problem that people don't understand is that civilian doctors don't like to take care of veterans after they have been taken care of by the VA hospital, because they have to assume care. What I was told was, we'll take care of you and then you have to go away, pretty much.
Mhm.
So
Now
I've
I
been
had
doing this on my own.
Now, after what you went through with the VA hospitals, has this been a problem just in San Antonio, or has this problem been just region wide, or is it a nationwide problem with VA hospitals?
I'll be very honest with you. There's a problem nationwide with our VA hospitals. In Colorado, I was told I had brain cancer when I did not. And it was a secretary who called me randomly and said, "Hey, we need you to come in. We just diagnosed you with brain cancer." And I said, first
Really?
and
It's just like,
foremost,
and they did this over the phone?
yes.
Really? It's like, how could you have brain cancer over the phone? That's like someone calling me up and saying, it's like, hey, you've got a broken nose. It's like, go on in. It's just like, how do you know I have a broken nose when you see over the phone? It's like, it's never happened. And I thought, that is weird.
Correct. And so that was at Denver. And when I had filed a petition to get things changed on there, I was told that the person wouldn't be fired. They would just transition to a different unit, which is happening all over the VA systems. When doctors go wrong, they just get transferred either to another VA, or records get changed so that the VA is covered and so that the doctors are basically taken care of, and the person that is having the issues gets quieted, or they shove them out of the system, or they pretend like nothing's wrong and they end up trying to help their own. And in doing so, they end up hurting a lot of veterans in the process. Now, I was a published medical researcher for Denver for diabetes supplies and diabetes, learning how to do different pumps. And I got them to accept the option of CGI, which is continuous glucose monitoring, CGMs, excuse me, and allowing us to have different pumps, because they would only deal with Medtronic when Medtronic would never work for me. It was always going bad as a system. And so I did research for them for over 9 months and got published in an article with the Diabetes Institute that is in Denver. And so mostly trying to help more veterans. But what I realized is that Colorado couldn't help me when I had my bilateral ankle fracture. They didn't want to take care of me. So I ended up moving to Oregon. And to be honest with you, since I've moved to Oregon, I've found more freedom from within, and had to learn how to reprocess everything and then send all of my files to the court to show them who I was, and to even prove that I was a soldier, because all of my medical records have been deleted. My medical stations had been deleted. It was almost as if I had just gone to basic training and nothing was there. So I had to pull out
Wow.
different files. I had to prove to Congress that I was indeed in Bosnia and Croatia. I had pictures of me in Hungary with my weapon and other people. That's the only way that I got to prove to Congress that I was actually where I was and that I was not lying. So it's been kind of an event, a
Mhm.
series of events that led me
Right.
to
Right.
here.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, we'll talk more about you getting in the army, your career, your registered nurse, also your books and movies in just 1 minute. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mia Mosensia is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, and 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. Missing is available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy before it goes missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple. Coming soon to Podbean, Buzzsprout, Pandora, and TuneIn. heard worldwide on Geo 7, Radio Public, Himalaya, and more. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel, and follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And support the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Click on donate and go to PayPal as well too. You can also go to Anchor FM/support and check out the cool merchandise for t-shirts and more. Go to Amazon.com/the Mike Wagner Show, and for some great books by me and Moses and Zia. Also pop sockets, t-shirts, hoodies, and a lot more. Go to Amazon.com/me and Moses and Zia and order today. We're here with a very talented actress, also author, also Army veteran, registered nurse, and the founder of Mindy's Garden and Feed My City, Mindy Dougherty, here on the Mike Wagner Show. She's based out of Oregon. And before we talk about your 2 books as well too, and how'd you first get involved with the Army, first of all?
So I declined my running scholarship to UC Berkeley. I was a hurdler and a sprinter mostly. And I wanted to get training, basically. I wanted to become a future at that point, wanted to become a doctor. And I thought that learning trauma would be the best way. And since the Iraq war had already dissipated, they were still training as if we were going to go to war again. So I figured, this could be possibly the best training that I would ever be able to get if I wanted to go in. So that's why I picked combat field medic and ended up being literally a field medic until 1997. From 95 to 97, I was in the Army from 1995 to 1999. And ended up, like I said, representing the whole base at Fort Carson, Colorado, and going to Washington, D.C. to represent over 5,127 soldiers at the time, and felt that there needed to be a program for also the single women that were pregnant at the time. So we started including them and creating gift baskets for them to go home to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then we also, at the time, were creating ski events for people to build camaraderie into the leadership as well, and different golf championships. And we ended up having the community donate televisions. At the time, VCRs. I know we don't have VCRs that much anymore.
It made me think of the Fast and the Furious, the very first one, where like, you're breaking in, stealing VCRs and anything. DVDs cost $500. And I look at the thing like, you really want to steal this piece of junk?
Right. Kind of funny now to talk about it, because it's like, wow.
Oh my gosh, we're not talking about Fast and the Furious and making fun of it, but I thought to myself, like, oh my God, it's like, I'm better off stealing a 25-inch color TV that was valued at $300, just an analog.
Yeah, so I mean, even like cassette tapes at that time and pagers and stuff like that.
8-track tapes and those big cell phones. It's like, hello, calling from a big phone, my car phone, hello.
Right. And then Sprint, there was only telephones that were maybe like one phone per floor. And a lot of soldiers were having the need to call home. So I enlisted Sprint to come on base and contacted the president of Sprint at the time. And what they did is they created lines within each of our barracks, so that we could soldiers could then each have a phone line put into their room, which was unheard of until I had gotten there. So, I mean, that was like the biggest accomplishment, getting that put on, and a couple other things to change the base, as well as getting new, we were sleeping on World War II cots. So getting those changed, those like nice metal bars. And
I'm sure something Hogan's Heroes would have loved back in the day. So,
right. So, a lot of changes were made on that base, and I had revisited it 10 years ago and visited WCAP, which have their athletes that are Olympians and go to different Olympic trials and stuff like that. And the coaches were still there. And so just seeing the progress that was made and all the changes that I had started, that actually came to about the changes that have been made, were really, really humbling. And I was honored to go see them again.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing what you did as well too, make something out of nothing and build something despite you went through. And also you also appeared in a few movies as well too, before we talk about your books, like Bridge of the Doom, which will be coming out. You also were in The Woods Encounter, also the Shadow Side. And tell us about those 2 films, and also your soon to be latest Bridge of the Doomed.
So Bridge of the Doomed is about the soldiers holding up a bridge and zombies come in to take over.
Ooh,
So we won't know
zombies.
who survives, who becomes a zombie and who doesn't. And that should be
Mhm.
coming out around Halloween this year. The Mahal Empires, Michael Mahal and Sunny Mahal, along with Michael Sue, who directed it. Robert Lasardo and Michael Pere are the ones who star in it. And it was a really big honor to be able to be with actors that have been in this industry for over 30 years, because I learned a ton from them. And then switching over to, I was audio on I Hear Trees Whispering, so you'll hear my voice on that. And then I got accepted into this TV series called The World Wonders, which is about World War II and the Pacific Rim, that will be filmed hopefully in 2023.
Oh,
And then
nice.
for the flag, hopefully the end of this year, we'll be going and filming that, and as well as being part of Dragon Slayer Entertainment. I'm the social media marketer. And then fast forward to creating my book. My book was just published in July of 2020. But the first one was Mindy's Fight, and that was done about 2.5, 3 years ago, I believe now.
Mhm.
Mindy's Fight is available on Amazon.com, as well as A Resilient Warrior. And it also ties in with Feed My City, which is www.feedmycity.net. And what that is, inspires people to grow from the inside out with one seed, one plant, and one garden at a time, to help people with depression, anxiety, PTSD, and all sorts of other issues, to get themselves out of their issues so that they can grow from within and help the society and help other communities as well grow. Because I thought that there was a need. I figured one day, I wonder what I could do for my community. And I was like, well, my community's so small. What could I do for my state? And then I was like, what if this expanded over the United States? And then when other countries had started saying, hey, what is this that you're doing? I was like, well, you want to get involved? So so it started spreading. My first country that I actually got established in was Australia. And I had some friends of mine that were like, we really love this concept. So they started to grow out there. And then fast forward to Ireland and Scotland, and it's just been, it keeps expanding, which has been a vision and a dream of mine, because I wanted to leave a legacy behind. So no matter if I croak tomorrow, at least something I will have done that will leave this earth a better place than when I started it.
Mhm.
And I really hope that my book, A Resilient Warrior, helps thousands of people understand that no matter what you've gone through, if you hold on to 1 ounce of hope, that can almost shed any type of light in a dark space. And if there's any amount of light that you can see with 1 ounce of hope, then you won't want to commit suicide, or you won't see things so grim in life, that maybe you'll be able to overcome some obstacles in your life. And not to say that you need to be traumatized like I was, or even have, PTSD or anxiety or depression, just something to do if you want to grow as an individual for both your communities and the world.
Mhm. And a question about the Feed My City as well too. You talked about having like apples, pears, and some of the others. Do they get a choice of what they plant, or is it directed by the city, or is it all based on by a committee, or is it just the general public? And say, can you grow say potatoes? Can you grow say Washington apples, or grapes, or carrots, or anything like that? So it's just like, do they give you do you ask for like a list of what they want to grow, or do you have like a certain agenda of like, here's plan A, like say potatoes, apples, carrots, or plan B, like say pears, carrots, peas, or even like say C, like tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, or say with bananas or something. It's like how does that work?
So I love variety, and I love people to be able to select and choose what they want to. So I give people the option to grow what they can in their area. And I've also personally used my disability money to create this program. And I've bought trees for people that are in other areas and said, okay, I will commit to, if you buy 2 trees, I'll buy 2 trees and let you choose what you want. Because I ultimately believe that if I give people the choice, that they will flourish even more versus telling people what to grow. I'd rather have people grow what they want so that they can thrive first and then help the community as well. And in other communities, we just find out if they don't have a preference, then we grid it out and see what's best for growing in their area so that they can flourish for both themselves and others. And in schools, we've kind of done the same thing where they can grow. Some don't want to grow trees. They want to grow smaller on a smaller scale, which is absolutely fine. You can grow 1 plant, 2 plants, 8,000 plants, whatever you want. And it's the freedom to grow and teach the children at schools or even in colleges, teach people how to grow for the community, basically.
Wow.
And it's mostly community based off of this. And it, like I said, has been flourishing and growing so much that it's my proudest achievement besides my autobiography called A Resilient Warrior.
Oh my gosh, you're making me so hungry with this Feed My City here. And just one more question before we talk about your book. What is the most unusual or the rarest request that you had in terms of a fruit or vegetable when it comes to Feed My City?
I am trying to grow goji berries, and for the life
Goji
of me,
berries. Oh,
yeah, for the
wow.
life of me, I've got the plant, but I only have gotten like 3 flowers from them, and I don't know if the birds keep eating them or what.
Yeah, well, tell them to work to feed the city instead of eating them. It's like you gotta speak in bird language.
Yes, so I ended up getting actually 2 more bird feeders so that I can try to attract the birds to the feeders instead of my trees, but I am gonna put netting up this year because I lost half of my stuff last year to the birds, so maybe I can get like a netting to kind of push them to the bird feeder instead of my
hmm
trees.
That's a very good idea as well, too. And where can we find Feed My City and Mindy's Garden at?
So it's just called Feed My City, and it's at www.feedmycity.net, and that's FEEDMYCITY.net. Feed
Okay.
My City.
That is so amazing. We're here with Mindy Dougherty of Feed My City, Mindy's Garden, and also a U.S. Army war veteran, founder of Mindy's Garden, also a few movies as well, too. We'll talk about her latest book, A Resilient Warrior, in just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor, The Mike Wagner Show, international war-wearing author Mia Emotion Zia of Missing, available on Amazon, paperback, and ebook. We'll be back with Mindy Dougherty after this timeout. We're back with author, actress, and U.S. Army war veteran Mindy Dougherty here on the Mike Wagner Show, and talking about her time in the U.S. Army and also her trials and tribulations. Also talked about Feed My City, her movies as well, where we encourage you to check those out. And let's talk about your book, A Resilient Warrior. And you put a lot of purpose into it, and once again, tell us more about the book and some of the things you overcame, like with childhood abuse, PTSD, and a lot more with you being resilient. And tell us more about the book and what inspired you to write it.
What inspired me the most is my grandmother had actually asked me to write a book 20 years ago, and I'd been putting it off. I was a workaholic with nursing and becoming a trauma nurse and interventional radiology nurse. I kind of shoved it all aside until the events that had happened that we spoke about earlier in 2014. When I came out of solitary 3 years later, I really felt like my voice needed to be heard on a bigger platform. And so I started to do therapy and then started to write, but my writing was kind of not not incongruent. Basically, it was linear, so my thoughts were going everywhere. And so I had reached out to a couple editors to help me, and then my publisher, I reached out to him and he helped me with Mindy's Fight. And then fast forward that about a year and a half to 2 years later, we really got the story of A Resilient Warrior, because I wanted to go all the way back from childhood until what was happening now. And I wanted to show people that no matter what you've gone through in life, that you can not only overcome it, but you can choose your own path via getting over anxiety, depression, PTSD, and the things that I had gone through. to help me get through it. Like I said, I've overcome abuse, unfortunately, sexual abuse, rape, and intolerance of our government and what they had done to me as well. Um, and so I really felt inspired to get my voice heard on a different platform. And what I'm really hoping for is that eventually my book gets to the White House so that we can make changes on a larger scale and a larger level, like I had done in previous years before 2014. So just kind of carrying on with both my legacy and making a difference in this world before I die.
And also just a couple of things as well too. And who are your favorite authors and writers growing up?
I wasn't much of a reader, I'll be very honest with you. So I don't read much except for like Maya Angelou. I know why the cage bird sings. When I was younger, Dr. Seuss and the Berenstain Bears.
Oh yeah, Dr. Seuss, Cat in a Hat. Love it, love it,
Yeah.
love it. Yes, I love that Cat in a Hat. And before we talk, we need to talk more about that.
And also there was this book that Dr. Seuss released. I think it's called The Places You Will Go. A
Oh
friend
yeah,
of
that's a
mine,
classic. I
yeah, a
remember
friend of
that.
mine gave that to me when I graduated nursing school. And it's just been a meaningful book that's carried me through. And it also reminds me of the resiliency that you can have and the places that you will go once you believe in your dreams and really want to concentrate on the achievements and the positivity that can grow from it. And sure,
Hmm.
there's going to be negative moments. I'm only human. Of course, I'm going to get angry and excited. And that's also part of Kubler-Ross's way of learning to get through everything. It's our acronym in the medical field is DABDA: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then acceptance. And I think that I have gotten to a place of acceptance towards most of the things that I've gone through.
Hmm.
However, the stages of grief kind of circle within it. So when things come up, if I get triggered or anything, what I'm currently doing for the issues that I have is called neurofeedback, which helps calm down the nervous system by using EEG, which is connections to the brain in a computer that helps literally change brain waves. Because when you've had trauma, and especially the extent of trauma that I had, it changes the brain. So you cannot unwire the brain unless you actually have therapy through it. And
Oh
so
wow.
I'm really proud of the networking that's been changed based on the imaging that I've seen and I've been doing. In March, it will be 1 year since I've been doing neurofeedback and something called EMDR. And I also do a technique called tapping, which is EFT. And that helps bring stuff from the subconscious mind to the conscious mind so that you can then release it. And there's certain breathing techniques that you can do as well.
Are you saying you're doing brain tapping right now? Because I've actually heard of it. I had a guest on the show that specializes in brain tapping.
Yes, I am. I do that either on a weekly basis or a daily basis when I remember. If there's a time where I'm panicking or having anxiety, or anytime that I, have to walk into the hospital, I definitely try to tap the anxiety out because there's, certain stuff, certain smells that come up and reminds me of San Antonio, Texas,
Mm.
unfortunately. And so though I'm moving and I've moved tons of achievements past that, there's still times where my brain thinks it's right back to where it was. I haven't had nightmares for a year now, though, since I've done neurofeedback, and that's been exciting.
Hmm. And you talked about PTSD extensively as well too, and how can people help with those or loved ones, especially with PTSD? Where can they go for help?
I would suggest again, neurofeedback has been the thing for me. There's different types of therapy though that work for everybody that is different. So I don't want to put somebody in a box. What I would suggest is if meditation works for you, great. If yoga works, great. I tend to walk the canyon and garden for myself, and I also do mandalas, which is coloring in pictures and stuff like that.
Oh wow.
And there's different theories of EMDR, which basically has images like a flashing light or pulses that go left to right that can help you as well get through PTSD. And if talk therapy works for you, then that's great. It doesn't really work for me personally. So for me, have done neurofeedback and EMDR as my go-to, and water therapy, which has helped my left leg to finally be able to walk and move the way that I have been. And I've also worked with a company called Oregon Adaptive Sports, which works with people with disabilities, and they adapt to what you need. So if you have no legs or no arms, they adapt the equipment so that those people can actually get on skis, which I learned how to ski 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago. I'm trying to think. COVID kind of took a year off. So, and now I'm snowshoeing with them. So I do anything I can possibly to kind of get outside of my mind so that I can kind of get back into being one with nature. For me, that works pretty well.
Mhm. And that's very amazing as well too. And of course, we'll tie in some movies as well too. And just a few more things. What can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond?
Hopefully more films, and possibly will be in more magazines. I was actually just published in a UK magazine called Integrity, which was amazing and very humbling.
Nice.
And I've been asked to do possibly a couple voiceovers, so that would be great to continue to do. I love doing this, and promoting, of course. Feed My City is going to continue to flourish and be my number one baby, as well as my book, A Resilient Warrior. I hope to get that into many different places and hopefully be able to possibly travel around and help as many people as I can.
And what can we find? A Resilient Warrior, Mindy's Fight, and also your movies, Bridge of the Doom, The Woods Encounter. I know it's going to be coming out in 2021. The Shadow Side. Where can we find your movies and books at?
So the movies, I'm not sure yet, because each movie has a different distributor and producers as well. But I know Bridge of the Doom will be coming out in Halloween timeframe. We'll have to revisit that on where those will be available. But A Resilient Warrior and Feed My City, as well as Mindy's Fight, can be found on Amazon.com or at www.feedmycity.net, which has all of my other platforms, social media platforms, with the IMDb, podcasts, and Instagram and Twitter.
That is very amazing. Once again, author, actress, Army War veteran, also founder of Feed My City, Mindy Dougherty here on Mike Wagner Show. Mindy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us updated. Love you back on in the future. And, just a couple of things. Who do you consider your biggest influence in your career, Mindy?
My biggest influence.
Yes.
Right now, I would honestly say probably Robert Lusardo, because he was my first actual larger actor that I got to work with, and he's been in this industry for over 30 years. So watching him and learning from him has been a great motivator, as well as a few others, but mostly for me personally, also Amy Jo Berman, who was a casting director for The Sopranos. I got the opportunity to do some stuff with her, as well as a one-on-one class,
Oh,
and a few others.
that is amazing. I think about The Sopranos. They say, forget about it.
Yes.
And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point, Mindy?
At this point, I would say really establish a follow ground to learn who you are, and really try to grow from the inside out, so that when there's chaos outside or people are trying to get you to change who you are, that you really establish who you are first, so that you know from the bottom ground up, like, who you really are, so that you don't change upon somebody else's requests.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that I think that are trying to change their image based on public persona, or feeling, oh, I'm too heavy, so I need to go get lipo, or I need to get my face changed, or I need to go get plastic surgery. And what I was teaching the kids before COVID had broke out in March, I think it was March 17 was my last speech, 2020, was to love yourself and to keep looking in that mirror and saying, I love you. I love you for who you are. I love you for who you're not. But most of all, I love you for who you're going to be. And so I got all these kids teaching them on personal and self growth. So hopefully they can go home to their parents and teach them as well to learn literally to grow from the inside out.
And that's very important as well, too. Very amazing. Once again, the very amazing Mindy Dougherty here on the Mike Wagner Show. Mindy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely great. Looking forward to again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back on in the future. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your books or check out your movies? And especially your causes.
Thank you so very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And you can find me. My name is Mindy Dougherty, and I can be found on Amazon.com or at www.feedmycity.net, where I send personalized and autographed copies to anybody who purchases that from my website at www.feedmycity.net. I give personalized autographed copies of my books and send them out myself.
That is fantastic. Once again, Mindy, a very big thank you for your time. You've been great. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Love you back on in 2021 and beyond. And don't forget to keep in touch, and maybe you can share some food for us and get more inspiration from you. You've been absolutely amazing.
Thank you so very much.